Welcome back for another SuperCoach BBL team preview. The team we have in focus tonight is the Hobart Hurricanes, and I am joined by two absolutely devilish individuals, DR and Joshy. How are you both?
Good, mate. This is the big one. Isn't it, Joshy? In my opinion, the most relevant team that we're looking to start from here. So pumped. I've got a lot of questions for you boys as we go through this one. So I reckon this is going to be an absolute banger, Joshy.
Couldn't agree more. Definitely the team that I've got the most of in my side at the moment, and definitely leading into the BBL, I think will remain that way. So yeah, really keen to get stuck into it and answer some of your questions, and also just hear your other options as well.
It's going to be a good one. They've got 5 games in the first 3 rounds. Double, single, double. I mean, it's a dream run for SuperCoach, and there's so many options. We just want to preface this by saying that at the time of recording, Rian Ahmed was taken back to the UK because he's hurt his knee on the England Lions tour. That happened prior to the start of the Ashes. But apparently, from some BBC article, they don't expect that injury to impact his availability for the Hobart Hurricanes. And additionally, Mitch Owen was subbed out of a Shield game due to injury, but from all reports and everything I've seen, he's going to be absolutely fine. So I think Owen is all good. Ahmed, maybe not so much because, I mean, going off one report, that's not, very reliable, is it? But I don't think that's going to shake things up too much. But again, we might as well just get straight into our predicted 11 for the Hobart Hurricanes because they are just so, they're the most relevant team starting us off for BBL 15. It's as simple as that. I did my predicted 11 prior to Jake Weatherald getting drafted into the test setup. He's opening for Australia, so you'd imagine things continue along that front and he doesn't actually get dropped. So my 11 is with him in it. And it's basically, it's going to be very similar to Joshy's, but I think we actually have a few differences in this one. I mean, the strikers one, we started off exactly the same. The Heat one, we had some differences. And I guess like a good relationship, we're getting into a bumpy patch here, mate. So we're not agreeing on everything. At number 1, I've got Mitch Owen. 2 was obviously Weatherald, but he's not there. 3, I had Wade. 4, McDermott. 5, David. 6, Chowdhury. 7, I had one of Ahmed or Stanlake. Obviously, Stanlake will be pushed down the order. At 7, I had Chris Jordan. 8, Rashad Hussain. 9, Alice. 10 was either going to be Meredith or Jackson Bird, who has moved from the Sixers to the Hurricanes. Now, Joshy, yours is a bit more up to date than mine. You obviously don't have Weatherald in there because you do your research, you're switched on, and you're a good-looking individual. So hit me with your round 1 prediction for the Hurricanes, mate.
Yeah, so obviously, as you mentioned, Weatherald out. The other big domestic recruit of theirs was obviously Bo Webster. He's not going to be available either by the looks of it. So I've got Owen at the top. Wade is now opening for me. I initially had Weatherald there. So Wade at 2. Mac Wright's the one that comes in for me at number 3. He missed the whole of last season with that ACL injury. The season prior to that, he was pretty good. The Hurricanes lose Caleb Jewell. Not many other batting options to come in. So I think Mac Wright at 3, McDermott at 4. They could swap. Then I've got David at 5, Chowdhury at 6, Ahmed, Jordan, and Hussain at 7, 8, and 9. And then I've got Alice and Meredith to round it out. And I'm pretty confident with this lineup. As we did mention at the top, Ahmed is under an injury cloud. If he was to miss, then I think Billy Stanlake comes in.
Wonderful, mate. Wonderful. DR, How many Hurricanes players do you have in your team right now?
All right, I'm just clicking on my team here. Currently, at time recording, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 Hurricanes at the moment, mate.
I've got 6 as well. Joshy, I reckon by your reaction, you don't have as many.
I've got the 5. Could definitely move to the 6. It's the one that I'm probably watching. I think if he is fit, I'd probably bring him in. That moves me to 6. I think there's going to be a player that you both have that we talk about later, batting at number 5, that I don't have, in Timmy David, which we'll discuss later.
Ooh.
But yeah, that's probably where we differ. I think the other the other 5 Hurricanes you have, I think we'd all probably have the same batch. But yeah, just the 5 for me at the moment. But we've got 12 days to the season and definitely can change.
Well, Mitch Owen, I think anyone that is going to take this seriously will be owning him,
Yeah.
despite his recent sub out of the Shield game. Most people will have one of Wade or McDermott. Most people will have Tim David, which obviously you don't, Joshy. I think Jordan and Ellis are absolute locks. And I think most people would have Rashad Hussain as well. Is that a fairly accurate statement?
For me, it is. Yeah, that's
Yep.
Yeah.
basically who I've got. Yeah.
Yeah, I had McDermott. I've dropped
Yep.
him out for Clark at the moment.
Yep.
And there's the reasons for that. More so, McDermott would have been stuck on my bench, and I wouldn't have been able to loop him in. I've got Philippi as that keeper option, and then around the ground, I don't think I'd want to field McDermott over a lot of the other guys that I'm fielding. So he's the one I'm missing, and it also prepares me for that round 3 double with Joe Clark coming off the bench. I know that McDermott's in that as well, but I just think Joe Clark opening compared to the 4 and getting a star in appeals to me more. But it's actually funny you say about Hussain. This shocked me, but he's only in 5% of teams. He was one of my first picked players. Obviously, there's a bit of debate about his price. He's 117.5k. Last season, he didn't play a game before being ruled out of the tournament, and he was very cheap, a lot cheaper than this. But 5% owned, it shocked me a little bit because I think he should be in a lot more teams than that.
Now, again, if you listen to the Brisbane Heat one, I talk some dribble about why Colin Munro is statistically speaking overpriced.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know why they do this. Like, I really don't. Like, don't bump up a player's price when they haven't even played a game in the actual tournament just because you got it initially wrong. Simple as that. Like, it's just you. And let me know if you agree or you disagree. Like, you know, call me an idiot, whatever you want. Again, agree, disagree. Let us know in the comments. But Joshy, let's just stop talking absolute smack for a moment about players that, we might have in our team or we might not have in our team. Everyone that's listening to this, either on Spotify, on YouTube, or they're watching on YouTube, they want to know what by now, why on earth do you not have Tim David in your side after he literally, and I know it's a different competition,
This competition
he almost made
is
100 off 30 rocks.
I completely understand that, but that competition is nowhere near the standard of BBL to start with.
I again completely agree with you. Agree with you. But when you saw that, there would have been a tiny little bit of you thinking, oh, how does it look with Timmy David in the side? How do I get him in there? And I'm not going to even go into how much abuse you hurled at me for suggesting that Chris Jordan is an absolute bargain. I've got therapy booked in for the next 6 months from you, mate. Like the receipts I've got from what you said to me, absolutely shocking. And I know that you apologized, but I know that you like to stick to your guns with decisions. So tell me why you're not going with Timmy David currently.
Currently, just the bat only. Like this has just been me for as long as I've played BBL Supercoach. It's not so much the name Tim David; it's more so the role. So he's going to be batting 5, not going to bowl. Sometimes does get a few catches. He fields in pretty good spots, so that can always help. But I mean, he's had this same role for now, sometimes at 6, but he's had this similar role now for the whole time he's been in the BBL. And last year was one of his best averages at 46, comes in at 123k this year, but the year before he started at 72k. He's a very volatile player. Yes, he's in form, and that's definitely got me thinking. I'm not going to lie there, especially on the double, especially in 38% of the sides, and especially with the flex, the best score dropping out. I think I can afford to have one bat only. But yeah, that's just the reasoning for now. But I definitely am considering him. I haven't ruled out any players really besides Harry Nilsson.
Oh, drive by my man, Harry Nielsen.
Ooh.
We'll allow that. We'll allow that. DR, I know it's an obvious question, but why do you have Tim David in your team? Like we've just heard why Joshy doesn't, but why do you?
It's the recent form. I think it's hard not to go with a man in good form. You look at his price point, he is a batter only. So I completely agree with JG. I hate starting batters only, but I think if you look at the fact that he's got 5 chances in the first 3 weeks, even if he gets that one big banger, that might be enough to almost make it worth it. If you get 2 out of those 5 weeks, even better. I think that would be actually worth it. He's a type of bloke that has a huge ceiling if he actually goes off. Look, not the ideal batting position given the fact he won't roll his arm over very often, but it's the ceiling that worries me and it's the recent form that worries me. And yeah, 5 chances in 3 weeks, I'll probably take the punt on that. We're not paying up a huge amount of coin for him. It's a fair price, but I'll be happy to just take the gamble, I think, given the fact he's got the two doubles.
Joshy, are you not worried that, like, potentially speaking, after 3 rounds, if Tim David goes absolutely bananas, you've missed one of the most obvious picks known to man to start a season?
Well, it's funny you say that. Last year, the one that I go back to, and different roles, but both bat onlys. Last year, the Gades started with a double, and I was so against Fraser McGurk. I didn't start him, despite him being, I think it was nearly 50% of sides. It was
Yep.
very high ownership, and he started at 128k, very similar price to David. The ownership nearly worried me, but I stuck to my guns, and Fraser McGurk ended up doing absolutely nothing in those double game rounds and did nothing. But as I said, with the flex, with that extra player, I think I can afford that one bat only player. So David is definitely in that thinking for me, along with maybe a Babra's arm, or I guess you could also maybe think about Wade's if you wanted to save a bit of coin. But yeah, it's just that volatile role for me that just he can come in super late into innings. Like their order's not bad. Like you could see McDermott and Wade and Owen batting long periods of time and giving David not much opportunity. That would be my worry. But as I said, I haven't ruled any player out. Such could pick it. And yeah, that ownership and the form and the price definitely does scare me with how many games he plays in the first 3 rounds. But yeah, it's just the bat only for me.
Where do you have him in your predicted lineup? Again, is it 5?
I have him at 5. Yeah, have him at
Yep.
5.
So
And yeah, usually like we have seen him bowl before. It's very rare, but now that they've brought in Ahmed and Hussain to go along with Chowdhury, you can pretty much absolutely rule out he will never bowl in this team again. If everyone's fit and playing. I really don't think he will, especially when you've still got Jordan, Alice, Meredith, Owen. All these guys should be getting overs over him. So I do view him as a pure 5th batsman, and that's all he is, with the potential to get a couple of catches per game. And just going off my bat only philosophy, I usually don't pick him, but you can probably get away with one with the flex.
all right, so it's the first game, right? and it's, Hurricanes, they've got Thunder. It's the first round, the third game. Hurricanes bat first. They're 2 for 140 after, 15.
I was going
And
to
then,
say this.
and Timmy David walks out at 5. Nice little launching pedestal to just go absolutely bananas. He sends a few rocks into orbit. He makes nothing extreme, but say like 41 off 17. And then he gets the last over of the game. They clearly win, picks up a junk wicket. How are you feeling?
Oh, I just got absolutely lost in your storytelling there. It's good to hear your imagination verbalized, but we're
Oh,
talking about T20 cricket here. We're also talking about that game being in Tasmania, so there's a chance it's
yep.
probably going to be rained out, especially with how the weather's been in Australia at the moment.
Yes.
I'm not going to go off hypotheticals. I'll probably wait until the weather radar is a bit more concrete.
For the internationals, for the Hobart Hurricanes, do we have any interest here? Because I definitely do. And honestly, it's both of them. Rian Ahmed and Rashad Hussain. I can see a world where if Ahmed is fine, I'm starting him. 100% starting him. Are we all thinking similar to that?
Yeah, look, I think something that I've struggled with, and tell me if I should just get all three. I've got Ahmed, Hussain, and the Chode. So those three all-rounders.
Mm-hmm.
Could I ask you boys, if I was to ask you to rate them 1 to 3, assuming everyone's fit, available, all the rest, who's the most important bloke to start with there? So how about a rating 1 to 3? I know it might be difficult, but Ahmed, the Chode, and Hussain, where are we going with ranks 1 to 3 there? Or do you just get them all in if they're fit?
Well,
Jeez,
I
that's a good
think the
question.
signings of Ahmed and Hussein has killed Chode a little bit because I think what could have been 4 overs in that role cuts back to maybe 2.
That's
Because you've
big.
brought in 2 spinning all rounders. He bats at that 5 to 6 depending on where the game's at. I'd probably go Hussein, Ahmed, and then Chode just because I think with Meredith always gets his 4, Alice gets his 4, Jordan's probably going to get his 4. And then you've got Hussein and Ahmed. I think they're better bowlers than Chode. And then depending on how the wicket's playing, you might want to go more pace with Owen over Chode. So I think just he could become that, just bat only 2 overs, and maybe that does present some wickets, but you're probably not going to get economy rate bonus out of him. So I'd
Good
probably
point.
rate him last, and then I'd probably have Hussein number 1 and Ahmed number 2. But Hussein and Ahmed really could flip. But unfortunately, I think it's the death of the Chode.
Oh, no,
Is it?
good. One of our faves, the old
Oh,
Chode's up.
literally. I reckon oh, geez. And I can't believe I'm doing this again, but I reckon I agree with you. Like, I think for that all-rounder status for Hussein and Ahmed, if Ahmed's obviously available to play, I think that creates more avenue for points from an all-rounder perspective. But in saying that, Chowdhury is a much better bat than both of them.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
definitely a worse bowler than both of them.
Yeah.
So that's difficult. Like, if they bat first, does that kind of lead you to Chowdhury, or does it mean that because they're going to bowl second, does that mean Hussein and Ahmed are more likely just to get junk wickets?
And if batting second, if they chase that down in 15 overs, that's even less overs for Chode to bowl.
Yeah.
So that presents even a bigger issue. Just their bowling lineup it's stacked. There's no doubting why they are the reigning champs. Like that team, even with Weatherald and Webster to come in the back end of the tournament, it's just absolutely stacked.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to lose the tournament, but that's another story. But yeah, I just think the Chode's dead, unfortunately.
Good discussion. Good discussion. That's good because he's someone that's been a little bit in and out of my side.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry, just one last question on that. Let's just say Ahmed is not available. The Chode stocks really start to rise then. So do we really look to start the Chode, particularly if he's not available?
Yes, because then he becomes that second spinner option. Whereas at
Yeah.
the moment he's probably third with 4
Yep.
or 5 quicks in that team. He would then become that second spinner option and very much relevant for sure.
Beautiful.
Geez, you could honestly go in with like 7 or 8 of those players, couldn't you?
You could pretty much pick the whole team besides maybe Mac Wright, to be honest.
Well,
Yeah,
and
I
then
mean,
I could make a case.
Meredith.
like it's I think Ellis is one of the easiest picks of the game.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you just know what you're gonna get. Chris Jordan again at 105k. I think that's just that screams pick me. He's gonna bowl death. Chances are he's gonna bat as well, and he actually can bat. Like he's a proven performer. You've got, I mean, McDermott. He has seemingly lost the ability to hold a cricket bat. Like he was in the form of his life, MVP of the tournament, insane. Like was making hundreds in this comp, and has gone to absolute like poo. Matty Wade has kind of adopted that like end of the innings, and I hate using the term finisher because it's just like it's such a crap term, but like they use him to just close it out. You've got David who's literally hitting balls out of stadiums for fun. And then Mitch Owen, I mean, if you didn't own him at the back end last year, you're absolutely cactus. So you can make an argument for so many of these players as well. And like even Meredith at 130k, that's amazing value.
Can I ask you a question on that? Sorry, Scope, just to jump in there.
No, go for it.
That I had to make. I've been able to get him back in, but I originally had Alice, and at the time I needed a bit of extra money to get to Mitch Marsh. I just didn't quite have enough. So I went from Alice down to Meredith in order to fund that. I've changed things around again and I've got Alice back in. Do you think it's imperative to find the extra cash to get up from a Meredith to an Alice? Do you think that there's going to be that much of a gap that you've just got to find the extra coin to get someone like a Meredith up to an Alice? Or would you still be happy rolling with a Meredith type over the captain?
This might be my biggest statement of the podcast, but I honestly think Alice is the number one Canes option, even over Owen. Obviously, I'm picking both, but I think there's a world where where Alice averages the most out of this Canes team.
So you're red hot on him.
Keeps evolving. Yeah, he just keeps evolving as a cricketer. Look at him, what he did against India just recently on home soil. Like he was awesome. I think he was probably our best bowler. I did SuperCoach scores for those games, and I'm pretty sure all 3 games he was right at the top, if not the top. So he's in red hot form. Obviously, Owens, he had 200s last year, and he bowl as well. But yeah, I think Alice is the number one target in the Canes. So I'd definitely be trying to find that money, I think, if it is between Meredith and Alice.
You make a good case. Scobes, what are you thinking, mate?
The information that we've been presented with for multiple years now, and not just playing for the Hurricanes, but entrusted at international level to be a death bowler, and not just be a death bowler, but be a very successful one. You know what he's going to do, and there is going to be no worse feeling than when they play the double in round 1 against the Thunder and Melbourne Stars, who, I mean, historically aren't the best batting teams. You know that he's going to bowl 2 overs of death at the end. Like, that's an absolute given. You can take that to the bank. So there's 4 overs there of death against mediocre batting lineups. Like, you know that he's going to get wickets. Like, you need to make a decision within yourself what you're comfortable with. Like, are you comfortable with him getting 3 wickets in those 2 games? Are you comfortable with him getting 6 wickets in those 2 games? If you are, and you can come to reason with that, then that's absolutely fine. But definitely do not be picking him because you don't think he's going to get wickets, because he most definitely will be.
I will just add to this. I've brought up those SuperCoach scores. So this is from last month, very recent form against India, one of the best teams in the world, a lot better quality than BBL teams. His SuperCoach scores in the 3 games that weren't rain affected were 86, 86, and 97 in 3 games against India. So
insane.
it's just he's in insane form, and that's on Australian soil as recent as last month against an international cricket team that's right up there. So he's a massive lock for me. As I said, as far to go as the best Hurricanes option.
Beautiful, mate.
I mean, I don't think that's as outrageous as what you thought, mate. I really don't.
Yeah, good call. Last one for me. Promise this is it, boys.
No, go for it.
This is awesome because it's probably the listener questions as well.
It's that keeper position. So we've touched on Wade, we've touched on McDermott. There's going to be a lot of people. Well, look, to be honest, Phillip is the one that I think lots will probably go with. He's the one that I'm going with. But for those people that may be running with a McDermott or a Kane on the bench in preparation for round 3, who knows? You're doing something a little bit different. Joshy stashing Joe Clark there for the time being. But for those people that are keen to grab a keeper, is it worth paying that little bit of extra coin for Wade? Joshy, you talked about before, you potentially got him opening for the Canes. Is it worth? I just asked a similar question before about your Meredith to Alice. Is there that much of a gap in between, say, your McDermott to your Wade? Do we pay up that extra for Wade, or we happy enough to stash McDermott there on the bench for now? What do you reckon?
If you can find that coin with the amount of value there is, I think you do, just because I think Wade would bat higher. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Scobes, I think Wade would get those gloves over McDermott. So there's also those keeping stats as well. You know, late in the game, if teams are trying to get those runs, you can get those run-outs, catches, stumpings. They're valuable points in addition to, I think, a higher batting spot. So if you can find that cash, and to be honest, it's only marginal cash, but then at the end of the day, it could be the difference between, you know, like you said, getting in that Mitch Marsh over maybe a lot of people are running Hardy on the bench, which I think you probably pick Hardy anyway. But it's just, those fine lines of if you can get that coin or not. But I do think Wade is that better option if you are picking between the two.
Good advice. I won't use the term finisher Scobes because we don't like that around here.
No.
With Wade over McDermott, you're finding that little bit of extra coin if you're looking for a Canes keeper?
I don't know. I think you start with the most expensive. You wait until the game actually begins, that Thunder Hurricanes game, and you see the lineups, because if they're going to be batting first, then and Wade's down the order, do you really go with that? But then in saying that, if they're batting first and they put the total on, does that mean he's just going to get some cheap stumpings at the end in the second innings? So I think when you've got a predicament like that, always start with the most expensive one, because the flexibility it allows you. Then if you just think, oh, hang on, they're going to open with Wade now. Okay, perfect. I think Wade's cheaper than McDermott. Is that right?
No, Wade's more expensive.
No,
so I actually like what you're saying. Yeah.
So if Wade's more expensive, I can't even remember. I've had both of them that many times. Start with the most expensive one, because it is so much easier to go down to a different price point at a lower price point than it is to think, oh, hang on, now I've got to take 2 players out, 2 that I was really set on, just to put 1 in, and now I've got to find a replacement that I'm actually okay with in there. So, it's much of a muchness. It's like 15K. If your team's coming down to the difference of 15K, then I'm sure you're going to have a pretty decent starting lineup anyway.
Yeah, and just lastly on the keepers, the more that I'm thinking about after hearing you blokes give all the good oil here, I don't mind Joshy's strategy here of even someone like a Joe Clark, because if you're starting with a Philippe, he's obviously got the double in week 1. McDermott, Wade, whoever you got's on the bench, you're not actually using them. By starting a Clark at a cheaper Clark there, you're already preparing for that round 3 anyway.
Yep.
So I don't mind that, Joshy, the more that I think about it. And I may be actually leaning towards maybe not starting any of the keepers. It'll be interesting. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because like I know the Canes do have that round 3 double as well, but um, especially you do get that extra star in, and we've spoken about how stacked the Canes are. The wicketkeeper spot is probably the one that you can probably leave one out and stack the Canes elsewhere and bring in that extra star. And like Joe Clark, yes, he wasn't that great last year, but he has done it before.
Right.
This will be his maybe fifth or sixth BBL, so he has played on these wickets multiple times before without much luck last year, obviously. But yeah, I just think that you can definitely fade both of them. I spoke about having that bat only spot and thinking about having David in there. And, I'd even sometimes, if Wade is opening, I'd even consider having him over David with those wicketkeeper spots,
Mm.
wicketkeeper points, and cheaper, like by 30K. So, yeah, that's another thing I've got to look out for, these lineups, and that will ultimately make me decide between David and someone else.
Good share. Good share. Well, boys, I'm out of
Perfect.
questions for now, so I'll let
That
you
was
get
good,
back
though.
to it, mate.
Good,
I, th-
good discussion points.
I think we've wrapped everything up.
Oh, beautiful. There you go. Sorry, I took
Yeah.
over the questions at the end. I'm
No.
just
No, that
lots of
was
these that
actually
were
awesome.
selfish.
Yeah.
They were selfish for myself, but I'm thinking what other people in the community might be tossing and turning at the moment. Because as we said, they are clearly the most relevant side. And I reckon that the majority of these blokes would have been in and out of people's sides during the preseason. Those people that have been fiddling around with things. Scobes, you talked about McDermott, Wade, you're forgetting about prices. You're swapping around with some of these guys that much. So that was a brilliant, brilliant discussion, boys. And I'm feeling a little bit easier about some of my selections now and going to be very, very, very interested to see Joshy's lineup come round 1 and see if there is a Mr. T. David there. Oh,
Oh,
almost for the
Look,
entertainment value. I don't want
yeah.
to see a David there. Because between you
So
two, if he pops off Scobes, man, is JG going to hear it. But if he shits the bed, then JG is going to have the biggest smirk sitting down there, mate, giving
No,
it
he
to
will.
you
He will. And
terribly.
when he
Either way, I'm a
spoke
winner
about
because I get the entertainment. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
when he spoke about JFM Fraser McGurk last year, I've never seen a man hate watch like an athlete as much as he did in my entire life. Like it was just, oh,
that was
absolutely
crucial.
insane.
I think I'm probably will end up I will probably end up getting David. I think I will see that ownership and it'll be a bit too much. But I was steadfast in Fraser McGurk. That was balls on the line type of stuff. Like it
Yeah.
was multiple X posts, multiple messages to people
I
when he
love
was
that.
50% owned, and I stack that. But I don't think I'll do that with David. I think I will actually end up succumbing to that ownership and the form. To be honest, that was one thing Fraser McGurk didn't have. He wasn't in form at all.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah.
And yeah, oh god, no, that was a good little period of time. It was oh, fantastic. All right, let's wrap it up. Joshy, your team 11 is a little bit more updated than mine. Do you want to read yours out for those listening on the audio?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got Owen opening, Wade taking the gloves at that second opening spot, Mac Wright at 3 coming back from the ACL, McDermott at 4, David 5, Chowdhury at 6. I got Ahmed at 7, as we said, could be out with injury, but also Jordan at 8, Hussein 9, and then Alice and Meredith at 10 and 11. It is a stacked team.
Wonderful, wonderful. And we are interested in their internationals. That's fair to say, yes?
Yeah, all 3 of them.
Wonderful, wonderful. Is there anything more to add?
Nope.
No,
No.
killed it, mate.
Well, thank you for those listening on the audio. If you're watching on the YouTube channels, you know what to do. Leave a like, comment, and make sure you subscribe because we are getting these out daily. Simple as that. Stick around for our next one. It'll be out tomorrow or whenever. You know the drill. But make sure If you agree with anything that we've said, let us know. If you disagree with anything that we've ever said, and if you reckon Joshy is going to end up with Timmy David in his team in 12 days' time, let us know about it, and have a great evening. We'll see you next time. Thank you.
Catch you guys.